19. That's the number of children under the age of 5 who were maltreated and died here in Manitoba over the past 12 years. A new report from the Advocate for Children and Youth says their families did not get the child welfare services they were entitled to, and each death was preventable.
Sometimes it makes it even more of a tragedy, really, that these totally dependent little ones didn't get the opportunities that they needed to be able to live full lives.
The report details stories of abuse and neglect and the continued impacts of trauma cycles and systemic oppression.
Injuries to young people don't happen because people don't love their children. They don't happen because that's the intended outcome. Most often it is a culmination of being overwhelmed, being stressed, feeling unsupported.
74% of the children had CFS support at the time of their deaths.
If they ask for help, they're scared about their children being apprehended. I think that's the other thing that we can really do as a province, is to make sure that we make it okay and safe and normalized to get help, because we have really smart and passionate people that work in many of these systems, and we need to make sure that we're connecting them appropriately with the families who need them.
According to the report, one child died after an agency failed to act on recommendations for respite and therapy for the child's mother. Another died shortly after being put into care. The agency did not identify the child's or family's needs and did not contact them after the placement.
There almost is never just a single reason or a single cause for why a situation gets to where it gets to.
Crone also found the province has completed 55% of the recommendations from the massive 2014 Phoenix Sinclair inquiry aimed at preventing deaths like hers. Phoenix Sinclair was a 5-year-old girl killed by her mother and her mother's boyfriend in 2005 after spending much of her life in care. She was beaten to death and buried near a dump in Fisher River, Cree Nation. The province lagging behind when it comes to the recommendations tied to direct service improvements, funding, and children's rights, according to the Advocate.
While we wait another, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, there are young children that are growing up right now who need services right now.
Crone asking the province to finish the remaining recommendations. She's also calling for them to work with First Nations and Métis governments to give all parents access to parenting programs and resources. She also wants each CFS authority to create policies to help children who are given back to their parents, to ensure case reviews, and to train frontline workers on the risk and protective factors of child maltreatment and best practices for reunification. The province's Minister of Families accepts the report.
We have worked on reunification strategies and training of all CFS staff, but obviously we can do a better job.
Squire says she instructed her department to implement the Advocate's recommendations and the remaining Phoenix Sinclair recommendations within a year. The Advocate says the public also has a role to play. It's the law to report suspected child abuse, and you do not have to prove it is happening. The number to call is below. In Winnipeg, Stephanie Lasuk, City News.